Welcome to TWT Talks with Tito. This is Tito Medrano back for another episode, back in your life. So today we're going to talk about post UFC 312. We're also going to talk about post Super Bowl 59, Chiefs versus Eagles. Let's dive right into UFC 312. I'm only going to talk about the co-main event and the main event, two title shots. Let's talk about the co-main event. This was for the UFC strawweight champion, the women's strawweight champion, Zhang Weili, versus the number one contender, undefeated, Tatiana Suarez. So this fight just came down to experience, to be exact. Not saying that Tatiana didn't have the experience, but, she hasn't faced someone like Zhang Weili. She hasn't been in a 5-round title fight against someone like Zhang Weili. And don't get me wrong, Tatiana Suarez has wins over Carla Esparza, former UFC strawweight champion. Has wins over former UFC flyweight champion Alexa Grasso, which, she finished both of those girls. And she also finished Jessica Andrade, former UFC strawweight champion as well. So, yes, Tatiana Suarez, her resume speaks for herself. She was 11-0 at the time. A lot of people compared her as the female Khabib. I thought that was too soon to say, because if you look at Tatiana Suarez activity as we speak, when I saw her fight at UFC in Chicago at UFC 238. That was her last. That was in 2019. She didn't fight till 2023. I know she was going through a lot of injuries and whatnot. She got back on the horse. Beat Jessica Andrade that year. 2024. She was scheduled to fight, but she didn't fight. So 2025. So Tatiana Suarez didn't fight at all last year. Last time we saw her fight was against Jessica Andrade, and and she won by submission. But she was facing arguably one of the most dominant female fighters right now in the UFC, which is Zhang Weili. I would go on the record and say that Zhang Weili is pound for pound best female fighter in the UFC right now. Not Valentina Shevchenko, Zhang Weili. And let's talk a little bit about this fight, because first round, Tatiana Suarez found success with a takedown, but Zhang Weili reversed it. Zhang Weili she absolutely did a great job as far as takedown defense. She beat Tatiana to the punch the whole time. She countered her the whole time. Tatiana had no response for Zhang Weili's stand up, and she tried to go for the takedown, and Zhang Weili saw it a mile away coming. She's like, nah, I'm gonna stuff this takedown. And every time she got taken down by Tatiana Suarez, Zhang Weili reversed it. Zhang Weili, there was moments where I thought they were going to stop the fight. And, you show the heart of Tatiana Suarez in this fight, but Zhang Weili's just operating on a different level. And, you look at, I believe this is her 1, 2, 3 title defense already, and on her second run as UFC strawweight champion. What's next for Zhang Weili? At this point, anybody that fights Zhang Weili, you have to be mentally and physically prepared for her. And I think just being physically prepared for her is not enough. You have to be mentally prepared for Zhang Weili, because Zhang Weili is she's levels ahead. She's just 10 steps ahead of everyone right now as far as the strawweight division goes. And she's pound for pound best female fighter in the UFC right now. What's next for Tatiana Suarez? This is her first loss in MMA/UFC. I mean, it's if anything she can learn from this loss is that she lost to the champ. She lost to the pound for pound best fighter right now in the female division. She has to go back to the drawing board and get better from there. I think she has to just go and improve her stand-up, because if she wants to get another crack at Zhang Weili, her stand-up has to be sharp. Because her takedowns and her wrestling is not going to be enough to face someone like her. Her submissions is not going to be enough to face someone like Weili. Weili is a complete fighter. She can beat you standing. She can beat you in the ground. And that's just the reality of that. That was the co-main event. Let's move on to the main event. This was a rematch from UFC 297. They face each other again. This time the champion is Dricus Du Plessis versus Sean Strickland, the former UFC middleweight champion. So this is for the UFC middleweight title. I said this before and I'll say it again. Dricus Du Plessis is one of the most awkwardest fighters that I have seen in my entire life of seeing combat sports or MMA or UFC. But it works for him. It works for him, and I feel like this time Dricus made us see something different, because we know Sean Strickland is the type of guy that's going to stand in front of you and is going to try to bang it out. And that didn't work with Dricus Du Plessis. Dricus Du Plessis was the guy that was beating him to the punch the whole time. Dricus Du Plessis said, you know what? Let's keep this fight standing for 5 rounds. And that's exactly what happened. He was beating on Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland had no response for him. I think Sean had some moments in the 3rd round. But if you look at the full entire fight, Dricus Du Plessis just dominated him from bell to bell, from round 1 all the way to the end of round 5. And I think we need to talk about Dricus Du Plessis in a different level. You know what I mean? We talk about the UFC middleweight division. Dricus Du Plessis already has 2 title defenses. Yes, he won this fight by unanimous decision. He broke Sean Strickland's nose either in the 4th or 5th round. I think it was probably the 5th round, or maybe 4th. I'm not sure. He broke his nose. Sean Strickland's, obviously when you get your nose broken, you breathe out from your mouth. So that was probably tough for Sean Strickland. And he just had no answer for him. His coaches were trying to motivate him. Were trying to tell Sean Strickland, you got to finish this fight. But it's just hard to fight someone like Dricus Du Plessis, especially knowing the fact that he is going to go in there and he's going to try to beat you up and he's going to try to bully you. And that's exactly what Dricus Du Plessis did. He bullied Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland really didn't have an answer for him. And like I said, we got to talk about Dricus Du Plessis. As far as pound for pound, he's arguably in the top 5. But as far as the middleweight division, we've seen champions in the past in the middleweight division. The Anderson Silvas, the Israel Adesanya's, the Chris Weidmans, the Rich Franklins, the Alex Pereira, even though he had the belt even though he only defended the belt once, the Robert Whitakers. Dricus Du Plessis, he's the type of guy that's gonna, if you say that he's not good enough, he's gonna show you that he's good enough. If you say that you can't beat Strickland standing, he's gonna show you that I can beat Strickland standing. If you say he can't beat someone in the ground, he's going to take the fight to the ground and show you that he can beat that guy in the ground. That's how good Dricus is. And, he talked about changing his fighting style. You know what they say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I think he's doing a great job as far as his fighting style. His awkward fighting style is working for him. So why even change it? But yeah, Dricus Du Plessis wins this fight. What's next for him? Hamza Chimaev. Hamza Chimaev's next. There's no ifs or buts. Those 2 guys have to fight each other for the middleweight title. You can make a case for Nazareth Imbava should get involved in that, but he did beat Israel Adesanya, but still, Hamza Chimaev has to fight Dricus Du Plessis for the UFC middleweight title. He talked about in the press conference that he's willing to fight him at Abu Dhabi and conquer the city of Abu Dhabi. Dricus is very confident in his skill set. He's willing to go against anyone, and I'm excited to see what's next for him. Dricus Du Plessis, Hamza Chimaev is the fight to make. What's next for Sean Strickland? He lost to the champion twice. And, we can do maybe a rematch with Israel Adesanya, Robert Whitaker. There's a fight with, I think that fight should happen too. There's a lot of exciting fights for Sean Strickland, even though he lost. Nazareth Imbava, I know he has a win over him. That should be fun. Those 3 options would be great for him. But yeah. And yeah, Dricus Du Plessis beats Sean Strickland twice, beats Adesanya, and Robert Whitaker finishes both of those guys. So, that guy is in the path to something great. All right, moving on to SuperBowl 59. Let's dive right into that. this was in New Orleans, Super Bowl 59. We had the reigning, defending, two-time Super Bowl champions looking to make history to do a three-peat, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So this is a rematch of 2 years ago, as they spoke, and not a lot of people were so hyped about this game. But I'm kind of shocked at how the game ended. The Eagles won this game 40-22, but the Eagles dominated the Chiefs. The defense showed up. The defense did not give Patrick Mahomes no space at all. Patrick Mahomes was running for his life. This is kind of like the same Super Bowl that Patrick Mahomes lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they faced Tom Brady's, which was Tom Brady's last Super Bowl win. This is something that this loss is going to sting for a while for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes was being pressured a lot by the defense of the Eagles. Travis Kelce really didn't do much. He didn't catch. I think he only did 3 catches, which is very rare for a tight end with the caliber of Travis Kelce. Chris Jones in the defense of the Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo, they didn't do much either. I mean, they gave a lot of space to the offense of the Eagles. Pacheco, Juju Smith-Schuster, these guys didn't show up either. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what happened to the Chiefs, but we didn't see that the Chiefs that turns things around in the second quarter or two. In the second half. So this Super Bowl was it the best Super Bowl that I've seen? No. But the Eagles were determined to win. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the offense, they were great. Saquon Barkley was very quiet, but he did have moments in this game. Jalen Hurts, man, he knew. For some reason, Jalen Hurts came into that game with a purpose, saying that, you know what, this might be my only shot to win the Super Bowl. And I feel like every quarterback or every team should go in there with that purpose, saying that this might be my only shot. This might be my only shot. This might be my only shot. And I feel like that's what that's the formula that the Eagles kind of went in going into Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Like, you know what? This is probably my only shot to go to the Super Bowl. Let's make it worth it. Because, 2 years ago, they lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to 38-35. Jalen Hurts was balling. And I said this in my previous episode. I said if Jalen Hurts shows up, the Eagles winning the Super Bowl is very, very high. And that's exactly what happened. Jalen Hurts showed up. He ran for his life. He saw the openings. The throw that he threw to Devontae Smith, wow, that was amazing. What a catch that was. He saw A.J. Brown caught the ball for the touchdown. Saquon Barkley was turning it up a bit, but I personally think that the defense of the Chiefs were too worried about Saquon Barkley. And I think the offense of the Chiefs and the offensive line did a great job to swerve the direction. Because, Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid, being great coaches as they are, Hall of Famer coaches in the future, they had no answer for the offense. They had no answer for Jalen Hurts. And Patrick Mahomes was not expecting the defense of the Eagles to show up like they did. I also said, too, if the Eagles defense shows up, because defense wins Super Bowls, defense wins championships, they showed up. And they did a great job of stopping Patrick Mahomes, not giving him any space. Patrick Mahomes was running for his life, and it was just not enough. He tried to turn it up towards the fourth quarter, but it was a little too late. He did see DeAndre Hopkins, which had 2 touchdowns. And it kind of sucks for him because, he went to the Chiefs for the purpose of winning a Super Bowl. He came up short. It's just the Eagles were just the better team. They were just the better talent. They showed why they were the better team and the better talent. I feel like if there's anything Patrick Mahomes can take away from this loss is that, you got to play like you've been there and done that. And this takes nothing away from Patrick Mahomes. He's still that guy. He's still that dude. He's still going to show up when it matters. But, difference doesn't hurt. So the fact that someone else won that is different, it doesn't bother me at all. I like the fact that the Eagles won. I know a lot of people are probably happy that the Chiefs lost. I can care less, to be honest. I do like seeing the Eagles win because I feel like with the team that they had, it would have been unfortunate if they didn't win and they lost again to the Chiefs. So it's a great thing that they won. And I'm sure, do I see the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl? Probably not. It's very, very, very rare. You know, Nick Sirianni, the head coach, got his first ring as a head coach. So it's great. It's great. It's great for Jalen Hurts. It's great for Saquon Barkley and you know, Saquon Barkley won the Super Bowl in his birthday. And that's take that Giants. Because, you know, you let someone like that go, and he has a killer year with the Eagles, first year. And he goes, you know, has more than 2,000 yards as a running back, one of the very few to ever do it. And first year goes to the Super Bowl and wins it. I mean, Giants, yeah, you got some evaluation to do. But they're not even the subject to be talking about. It's the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts just submits him as one of the greats to do it as far as quarterback position. Maybe he needs... I'm not going to put Jalen Hurts in the conversation of, you know, the greats, because I feel like, you know, he still has a long way to go. He is 27 years of age. He's been in 2 Super Bowls, already won 1. But Jalen Hurts, we need to start talking about him like he's one of those guys. He's one of those dudes that deserves to be in the conversation. And if you look at quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, we talk about those guys in a high level more than Jalen Hurts. And they haven't won the Super Bowl yet. It's not because they're not good enough. It's just because, you know, they couldn't beat Patrick Mahomes. Even though Joe Burrow did beat Patrick Mahomes and lost to the Super Bowl to the Rams. But the reality is this. This is going to be a motivation. I wouldn't say motivation, but this is going to build guys like Lamar Jackson, guys like Josh Allen, guys like Joe Burrow. Like, you know what? Jalen Hurts did it. I have to do it too. And it's just a matter of time for all 3 of those guys. Jalen Hurts, you know, do I see Jalen Hurts winning another one? Anything's possible, probably. But, you know, the NFC, the Lions are going to get better. The Packers are going to get better. The 49ers, when they get healthy, they're going to get better. The Rams are going to get better. So I feel like Jalen Hurts, he's going to have to get better too with the Eagles. And I think, let's not even forget about the Washington Commanders too. They're going to get better too. So all these teams in the NFC are going to get better too. So it all depends on the moves they make on the offseason. I think them getting Saquon Barkley was tremendous for the team. And yeah, like I said, Jalen Hurts shows up. The offense shows up. The defense shows up. It's a good possibility that they would win this. Because if you look at the talent as far as Chiefs and Eagles, the Eagles were kind of like the better team talent-wise. But you have Patrick Mahomes on the other side of that team. You got Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. You know, you want to lean towards him. But, you know, Patrick Mahomes, it's just one of the... This loss is tough for him because he already has 2 Super Bowl losses by blowouts. Does this hurt the GOAT conversation for him? No, it doesn't. But he did lose twice in a Super Bowl, and they were by blowouts. So people are going to look back on that and be like, damn, he lost twice by blowouts. First time he lost to the Buccaneers were 31-9, and then he lost to the Eagles 40-22. And the thing is, during halftime, they were down 34-0. Just saying, it's a tough pill to swallow for the Chiefs, but hey, you know what I mean? We'll see next year. I do want to talk about the halftime show. Kendrick Lamar killed it, man. It was awesome. Yeah, it was great. With Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was awesome. And I wonder who's going to be in the halftime show next year. We'll see. Super Bowl 60 will be epic. It will be epic because, you know, it's going to be 60. And the Chiefs are not going to they did not three-peat. There's never been a team that has ever three-peat. Chiefs were no longer, even though they consider the Packers a three-peat, but the first Super Bowl or championship the Packers won was not under the NFL umbrella, so it doesn't really count. But, you know, Vince Lombardi, under the Vince Lombardi era, it counts because, you know, Vince Lombardi had three-peats. But there's never been a three-peat under the NFL umbrella. So who's going to three-peat? Who knows? It's tough to say. The NFL is so tough. It's tough to win championships, let alone win them consistently. So who knows? All right, with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. It was very nice and short, but it's okay. Sometimes less is more, if you know. Next month, we got Elimination Chamber. and March 1st, and then the following week, UFC 313, Pereira versus Ankalaev, co-main event, Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. So a lot to unfold back-to-back events. I always like doing back-to-back events because it keeps the podcast busy. It keeps the channel busy. And if you guys have not followed the podcast, what are you waiting for? Follow us on Spotify. Listen to our podcast on Spotify. Listen to the channel on YouTube. What are you guys waiting for? And follow us on Instagram. Comment below. And if you have not heard, if you missed out on some episodes, when you're done with this one, make sure you listen to those episodes. And remember, we drop episodes every week, and we don't drop them every week. We are consistently will drop them. We might be a little late, but we drop them. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. My name is Tito Medrano. I'll see you guys in the next episode. You guys take care. Adios.